Good evening. Oh, it's on. Okay. So it is 6 p.m. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting of Tuesday, October 17th at 6 p.m. This meeting is now in session. Can we get a roll call?
Oh, it's on now. Okay. Chair Natasha Basso,
Here.
Vice Chair Joan Stewart, Commissioner John Dinan,
Yeah.
Commissioner Ben Rubin, Commissioner Tidy Zamora,
Here.
and in the audience, we have our alternate, Commissioner Steve Link and Commissioner Ben. Thank you.
Okay, any planning commissioner member or staff who has a direct conflict of interest on any scheduled agenda item to be considered is to declare their conflict at this time. Hearing none, we will move on to the public comment period. At this time, members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Individual comments will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person, and each person may speak once during this time. Time cannot be yielded to another person. Under state law, matters presented during the public comment period cannot be discussed or acted upon. For record purposes, please state your name and city of residence. Make sure your comments are directed to the Planning Commission members.
Madam Chair, I would like to provide the first comment, please.
Okay.
Throughout the last couple of years, due to COVID, we've done a lot of our Planning Commission business on Zoom. We will continue to hold the meetings on Zoom so people can watch from their homes, but this will be the last meeting where we will accept Zoom comments. They need to be submitted to the Planning and Building Manager by 4 o'clock on the day of the meeting, or sent by mail or email before that time. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one on Zoom.
Hello.
Okay. Hello, we can hear you.
Thank you. This is Jamie Agers, 7730 McHenry Avenue, Modesto. It's within the unincorporated area of Stanislaus County, outside the city limits of Riverbank, but within the proposed project area of Riverwalk. You've heard from me many times over the past 2+ years. I'm just here this evening to let you know again how concerned I am that this project is proposed to be built on prime ag land, which is the highest category of ag lands as classified by the State Department of Conservation. It's also in a floodplain area. I'm also concerned that the city of Riverbank has had in its strategic plan since 2019, which was 2 years before the public, like myself, knew there was a project like Riverwalks in the works. It's been included in your strategic plan as a goal to implement Riverwalk, and it was retained in the strategic plan when it was updated again in 2021. So I encourage you to vote no on this project when it comes before you, and it will come before you as we have been long awaiting the draft environmental impact report to come out. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment? Hearing none, I will close the public comment period. Moving on to the consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar are to be acted upon by a single action of the Planning Commission unless otherwise requested by an individual Planning Commission member or member of the public for special consideration. Otherwise, the recommendation of staff will be accepted and acted upon by motion of the Planning Commission. So we have item 2.1, posting of the agenda. The agenda for the October 17th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting was posted on the City Community Center bulletin board, City Hall North and South bulletin boards, post office, and emailed to the library on October 12th, 2023. And item 2.2, approval of the October 17th, 2023 agenda. This provides an opportunity for the Planning Commission or staff to recommend that an item be placed on the agenda for discussion or to adjust the proposed agenda to allow an item to be taken out of order.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve item 2.1 and 2.2.
We do have two more items on the consent calendar if you want to include that in.
Yes, I do. Sorry.
I think they call for that for individual vote for each item, don't you?
Yeah, we could wrap them all together. 'cause
Okay.
there's
Do it all at
no,
once if you want.
commissioners that were absent.
Let's do that. Okay, so item 2.3 and then 2.4. We'll start with 2.3, approval of the minutes of the August 15th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, having been read by the individual planning commissioners and stands approved as submitted. And item 2.4, approval of the minutes of the September 7th, 2023 Special Planning Commission meeting, having been read by the individual planning commission members and stand approved as submitted.
I modify my motion to include items 2.3 and 2.4.
You second?
Second it. Okay. I can't get is my mic on? Okay. Chair Basso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stewart, Commissioner Dynan,
Yes,
Commissioner Rubin, and Commissioner Zamora.
Yes.
Okay, it passes 5-0.
All right, moving on to the public hearings. The public notice for items 3.1 and 3.2 were published on October 4th, 2023 in the Riverbank News. Start with item 3.1, the variance 02-2023, the Crossroads West Unit, DMG Development Incorporated. And Donna, are you presenting?
I am. I had to get the clicker, sorry.
No worries.
Okay, so this is for Crossroads West Unit 1. And we're going to talk about two variances tonight, one for lot 64 and one for lot 78. 5512 Burnbrae Way and 5514 Harwood Lane. That's probably a good thing. Aha. There we go. Okay, as mentioned, this is a variance proposal. Both lots need a decrease on the interior side setback, which is 5 feet. Lot 64 would be taken down to 4.65 feet, and lot 78 would be 4.19 feet. So both variances would be less than 12 inches. Here's the plot plan for lot 64. As you can see on the left side near the top, can't see it from here, but it is the interior side variance. The reason why this lot and lot 78 need a variance is because, again, the lots are slightly tapered. I thought I was doing it. Thank you. The lots are slightly tapered. So to keep them from intruding into the street side setback, which is a 10-foot public utilities easement, the request is to move the house a couple of inches into the lot to keep that PUE intact. And then here's lot 78, and it's at the same, it says 4.19 at the top, just to the right of lot 78. So pursuant to the general plan, the Planning Commission needs to make the following findings of fact in approving a variance. Because of special circumstances applicable to the property, including size, shape, topography, or location, the strict application of the zoning ordinance deprives the subject property of privileges enjoyed by other properties in the vicinity and under identical zoning classifications. These corner lots have prospective buyers, and in placing the smaller of their homes on these lots, nothing larger that they have in their stock would fit. And so they're pretty much limited to this floor plan. And if they don't get variance for these two properties, then they'll have to do some modifications and come up with new plans, which is an added expense for the developer. The granting of the application is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of substantial property rights in the petitioner and will not constitute a grant of special privileges. The developer's not asking for any special privileges. They just want to be able to put their smallest house on these lots. The granting of such application will not, under the circumstances of the particular case, adversely affect the health and safety of persons residing or working in the neighborhood or of the property of the applicant, and will not, under the circumstances, materially be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to property or improvements in said neighborhood. So between 5 foot and 4 foot is where these variances would occur. And the fire department will still have plenty of room to get down the side of the houses in the event of a fire. The variance of a couple of inches should not really be visible to the neighborhood. So between one house and the corner house that would have the variance, there would still be over 9 feet of space between the two houses. The fire department usually gets involved if we have a 4-foot setback. They require firewalls on that side of the property. And so in this case, since we are not at that 4-foot limit, there's no firewalls required here. The CEQA designation, it's the project's categorically exempt under alterations in land use limitations, which does include minor lot line adjustments. And the recommendation is to approve the variance to decrease the setbacks on lot 64 and lot 78 based upon the findings contained in the resolution, resolution 2023-012. Thank you, and I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
I'm just curious. So I looked at the parcel map and there's another parcel that looks like it's very similar in size. Is that not included here? Because maybe they're not planning to build on it just yet and they'll bring that up if they need to in the future. I'm talking about lot 50.
Okay, well, lot 50?
Mhm.
Lot 50 received a variance earlier this year.
Okay.
It came before the planning commission. It might have been a meeting that you were.
Or maybe I just don't recall.
Yeah, have been a lot of projects, but you're correct. Lot 50, 64, and 78. In fact, after lot 50, when they thought they had lot 64, I said, you need to go through these lots and you need to check them all, and let's just do this one time and get it over with.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. A good question.
No other questions, or we want to open it up to public comment? Does anybody like to make a comment on this agenda item? Nothing on Zoom. Okay, hearing none, I will close the public comment. And would anyone like to entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2023-12.
We have a motion and a second.
Okay, Chair Basso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stewart, Commissioner Dynan,
Yes,
Commissioner Rubin,
Yes.
and Commissioner Zamora.
Yes.
Okay, that's approved 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 3.2, General Plan Amendment 01-2023, Rezone 01-2023, and Vesting Tentative Map 02-2023, McRoy-Wilbur Communities, 6612 and 6472 Central Avenue in Riverbank.
Thank you. As mentioned, this project does consist of a general plan amendment, which would take the property's designation from medium density residential to low density residential. The rezone would take it from single-family residential to planned development. And then there's the vesting tentative map, and I will go into a little bit more detail on those. This is the project location. On the left side, you can see that Central Avenue. At the top is Santa Fe Street, and at the bottom is proposed Sierra Street. As you can tell, this is actually two pieces of property brought into one project. And the kind of odd size of the project lends itself to these actions that we're here for tonight. If it were one big square project, they would have rows of neat, tidy lots, all basically the same size. But because of the shape of the project and the amount of roads to try to get into these parcels, so they all front on the street, the lots themselves actually vary from around 4,600 square feet all the way up to 29,600 square feet. So we have some smaller lots and some larger lots trying to put together a nice neighborhood for the community. Here is an aerial view of the project site with the existing conditions. At the very top of the project site, there is an existing home. And then at the bottom square, off to the left a little bit, is another existing home. These two homes will be parceled off, and then the rest of the property will be lotted out. So there will be a total of 26 lots with the vesting tentative map. So with the general plan amendment, as I mentioned, it would go from medium density residential, which does support a density of 8 to 16 units per acre. And then the land use designation of the project, let's see. Got a little confused here, reading too fast. Yes, okay, so the medium density is 8 to 16 units per acre. And they would like to go to low density residential, which supports a density of 0 to 8 units per acre. The project is consistent with the general plan with conditions of approval. One of the policy designs, 1.6, requires connectivity of current and future planned development. This policy addresses Sierra Street. To the west of the project across Central Avenue is Sierra that runs between Diamond Bar West and Heritage. And that is now connected all the way to Claus Road. On the opposite side of this project, we have Sierra Street going into Diamond Bar East. So the two pieces of this project are on either side of the proposed Sierra. So this project will connect Sierra Street on both sides, east and west. Policy design 3.2, attractive residential subdivisions. The purpose of that policy is to have the house developed so there's not so much emphasis on the garage. There are a lot of details that McRoy-Wilbur Homes does to frame the house, frame the front door, put on small porches and interesting windows in order to draw attention away from the garage. And then policy design 5.1, visibility of public and semi-public spaces. We like to have our neighborhoods have eyes on their neighborhood and help us with the security of their surroundings. These homes will have active rooms and windows that look out onto the street. So at any time, there may be somebody watching out the window, either watching their children play or cars race up and down the street. It is an added security feature. The current zoning of 6612 and 6072 Central Avenue is single family residential. The rezone is to request is for planned development because the different sizes of the lots. Some don't meet the desired width. Some don't have the required square footage of a 6,000 square foot lot. Some of the lots might be a little bit smaller than the required 100 feet length. So the planned development zoning helps the developer situate these lots so they will accommodate homes and make a nice neighborhood. These are the rezone development standards. on the left side, which is kind of hard to read, it has the name of the development standards. And then the first column is the single family residential standards, which has, for example, 6,000 square foot minimum lots, 60 and 65-foot minimum widths, and so on. And then it compares with the River's Edge plan development standards. So the smallest lot size, as mentioned, is a little over 4,600 square feet. The lot width is 29 feet minimum. Lot depth, there is a lot or two that does have 75 feet minimum. And then the overall square footage on some of these lots is smaller. So in order to rezone to planned development, the developer offers the city amenities to make the neighborhood a little bit nicer if they're making smaller or different sized lots. In this case, staff has talked to the developer and they're going to upgrade the different garage doors. They are also looking at decorative exterior lighting for the garages, as well as enhanced landscaping, both trees and plants. In some cases, this means instead of, say, a 15-gallon plant, they're willing to do a 24-square box plant, which is a little bit older, a little bit hardier, and will mature quite a bit faster in the neighborhood. Here is the actual tentative map itself. As you can see, the lots and the streets on there, there is a cul-de-sac in the top half and another street and cul-de-sac in the bottom half with Sierra Street between them. You may have noticed that Diamond Bar East, the property just to the right, does have a stubbed out street. At one time, there was the hope that that would be part of Sierra Street and come through, but the streets just weren't lining up. The maps weren't quite compared early enough to get that to happen. So in this case, that stub street could eventually become another lot should the developer want that. It's about the right length and width, or it's just going to be additional parking for some of those houses. We always have neighborhoods complaining they don't have enough parking. Well, that's probably another 4 or 5 parking spaces right there. Environmental, the CEQA analysis has determined that there is an exemption for qualified housing projects. This is something new that's only been out the last couple of years. Some of the requirements for this exemption are that the project will comply with its general plan and zoning designations when adopted. There are existing utilities in the area that they can tap into. There's no wetlands on the site. There are no hazardous substances that have been dumped on the site. There aren't any historical resources. It's not a wildfire hazard. These are things that the state has looked at in order to encourage housing to be built. And this kind of streamlines the process for the developer. A couple of years ago, they would have maybe looked at doing a negative declaration or a mitigated negative declaration, which takes months and sometimes up to $100,000 to accomplish that. But the state has gone through and decided that, you know, these items are important, and if they're not on the property, then the housing project should go through. So the recommendation is to approve the resolution recommending the council approve the general plan amendment. Also a resolution recommending the council approve the rezone, and a resolution recommending the approval of the vesting tentative map. Normally, we would just take the rezone to the city council because it is approved by an ordinance. But because there needs to be a general plan for the rezone to comply, a general plan designation that complies with the rezone. And then you would want to approve the vesting tentative map after you know your general plan designation and your rezone and that they do comply. So we'll be taking all 3 to the council if they are approved tonight. And that would be the first and only meeting in November, I believe the 14th. Thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions. We also have the developer in the audience tonight if you should have any questions for them as well. And Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First, Donna, I was gonna ask you tonight why you were recommending approval of these changes in lot sizes, and you've answered all my questions in your presentation, so thank you.
Oh,
That's great.
you're welcome.
One curiosity question. Is Santa Fe Street is not gonna go then all the way through to Snedeker? It's gonna stop at Diamond Bar East?
I don't know if it goes past, so Snedeker south or north? Are you asking?
Talking about, right now, it ends at Central, correct? Sierra Street?
Right. Oh, that's right. Sierra actually stops within the Diamond Bar subdivision. You're correct. It does not go through.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have any other commissioner questions? No, I will now open it up to public comment if anyone would like to make a comment on this agenda item. Please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Rogers. I'm a project manager for Benchmark Engineering. I'm here representing the owners Hector Garcia, Daniel Vidal, as well as the developer McRoy-Wilbur Communities. Donna, thank you for your presentation. It was very helpful. Your staff and you yourself did a great job answering all the but no questions that you needed. I'm here to answer any other questions you might have. One thing I wanted to I might have misheard you, Donna, but there are 38 lots in this subdivision, and 2 of those being the existing housing. And so those, I think I might have heard 28, but it's 38 for sure. And then the other thing I wanted to address was Sierra Street. As it is right now, it doesn't end in Diamond Bar East, but with this subdivision, we would connect it through our subdivision to the rest of Sierra Street to fully connect all the way to Claus. Because there is a subdivision to the southwest called, I believe, Sutter Heritage. And that is where Sierra Street dead ends. And then the other half of Sierra is stopped at Diamond Bar East. And with this subdivision, we would connect it all the way through. Does anybody had any other questions I could answer?
I don't think so.
Fine.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you for that clarification. I did mention 36 lots, and in my head, I was thinking 36 new lots in addition to the 2 existing homes.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on Zoom? No. Okay, I will close the public comment. And would somebody like to entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2023-13, 2023-14, and 2023-15.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Chair Basso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stewart, Commissioner Dynan,
Yes,
Commissioner Rubin, and Commissioner Zamora.
Yes.
Thank you. It's approved 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 4. Do we have any planning commission comments? Hearing none, I will move on. Item 5, county referral correspondence and information.
I have no county referrals at this time.
Okay, thank you. And next, staff comments.
Well, in tonight's staff comments, I would like to share that I have provided my resignation
Oh,
to the city.
oh, wow.
And my first day of retirement will be December 16th.
So it's a
So-
good resignation. It's a
Yes.
good thing.
Yes. So the November meeting will be my last meeting with you. And I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, congratulations. Okay, and item 7, that is adjournment. This meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
There was no second on your resume.
Do we get to vote on the retirement?
My husband has veto power.